GSoC is the best thing that you can add to a resume. I got into GSoC in my first try at Python Software Foundation, which is the most competitive orgs out there. And here exactly how. Hi, I'm Jigasu. I'm currently a third year engineering student at a tier 3 college in Ghaziabad, and I work remotely for a Japanese AI company called Akatsuki AI Japan, and I'm also an open source mentor intern at Newton School of Technology. So let's get into it. Before we go deeper into GSoC, let me tell you what exactly GSoC is. So GSoC stands for Google Summer of Code, and it is a program run by Google every year in which they pay students to contribute to various organizations such as Python, Mozilla, VLC, and there are many such organizations which you can go to the main Google website and check which all organizations are listed in that specific year. Now, you might be wondering what is open source. So basically, open source means that the code of a specific product is open to everyone and they can see it, contribute to it, and use it for their own purpose. Now, the main reason Google started this program was a lot of open source organizations which are important, they were not getting much attention and they were not having a lot of contributors to their specific product. So Google introduced this program for such organizations so that they can also get the attention of other contributors and they can bring new contributors and bright minds to those specific organizations. Now, if you get selected for GSoC, you might be raising a proposal for 3 types of project. One is small, medium, or large. If you're in India, then for small projects, you get paid $750, and for medium, you get $1,500, and for the large project, you get $3,000. And $3,000 are for around current rate, it is like 2 lakhs or 80,000. So it's a good stipend. And you also get a certificate too, which you can add to a resume. But certificate and the monetary benefit is just the secondary thing. The main thing is the actual contributions that you do during the summer. So basically, it's adding a huge project to your resume along with contributions and the PRs that you have risen during the time of your initial contribution, right? So these are the 2 big things that you are adding to your resume along with the certificate that you get from the Google. So I think these are the main things. And monetary benefit is just a tertiary thing that is actually helping you to stay motivated. Now I'm gonna talk about my story. So basically, I have not written any script for this specific section of the video. So my story was I started contributing during the October of 2024, and during at that time I was sitting in my COO library. It was CO, I'm not sure about the name of the subject. So I was sitting with my friend and we were just discussing about open source and can we contribute to open source for GSoC, right? So during that time, it was just thing that clicked to my mind, and I started looking for different organizations when I got back to home, and I saw this organization called Python Software Foundation, and in that there was an organization called Python Argentina. So I did the local setup of that organization because the tech stack of that specific organization was in Django, especially Django full stack framework, which uses HTML, CSS in the front end, and backend is in the Python files that we write. So I did the local setup of that organization and made like 4 to 5 PRs in, let's say, 2 to 3 weeks, because at that time there was no AI. Just remember that, because there was no AI booming at that time. There was ChatGPT, but it was not good enough to write code. So I started contributing to Python Argentina, and then the maintainers were really inactive. They were not talking much in their Telegram channel. So from there, I moved to another open source organization which came under Num Focus last year, and it was Jupyter Lab. So I did local setup of that organization and started contributing to it. I raised like just 1 PR, but in the process of raising that PR, I learned a lot, like what are tests, how to run tests, right? Because these are the things that you actually learn while you are doing the local setup and you are contributing to a specific organization. So when I got to know that Jupyter Lab is not coming that year, so I moved on to Wagtail. Wagtail is also a CMF which is written in Django. I raised like 6 to 7 PRs over there, and then the competition was a lot in Wagtail. So I moved to some other organization which was Learning Equality. I did the local setup, and similarly, I was just jumping from one org to another org, one org to another org. So around end of January or starting of February, I stumbled upon an organization called CV Bin Tool. At that time, the CV Bin Tool was having really few contributors. Like there were a lot of contributors, but they were having like 2 to 3 PRs. So around end of January and starting of February, I came across an organization called CV Bin Tool. And in that organization, I really felt like the maintainers are really active. They are reviewing PRs and the documentation is really good written. And the org admin, which was Terioda, she was really active in that repository at that moment of time. And she's also the org admin of Python Software Foundation, the whole organization. So basically, CV Bin Tool was a main project which came every year under Python Software Foundation. So I started contributing to it. I raised like 1 or 2 PRs, and the maintainer was really helpful in like helping me with the Git workflow and other things that I was messing up at that time, because there was no AI, right? Remember that specific thing. Now, what happened was they were really active in the meetings, and I was also motivated. Like I'm able to talk to the main maintainers of that repository, and they were super smart. So this was my main experience during the contribution, and I contributed like for about 1 or 2 months, like till the starting of March or mid March, and I had like 20 or 22 PRs in that repository, which is CVBin tool. And the maintainers were really active, so they merged all of my PRs, like not all of the PRs, but like they were reviewing it very quickly. CVBin tool actually is really slow organization, and they review PRs very slowly, and they're really super smart maintainers. So, which is why it was taking a lot of time in merging of those PRs, but eventually it was a really good experience over there, and I finally got in, and I was a top contributor over there. So this was my whole story. Now I'm going to talk about what you actually get from GSoC. So first is money. I got like my project was a large project, so I got paid like $3,000. So you get like 2,80,000 for just working 3 to 4 months, which is really a good upside. The second is certificate. You get a verified certificate from Google, and you can add to that your resume and LinkedIn. And another thing is the resume impact that you get from the actual contributions that you are making and the project that you are making during your summer. So these are the two main things that you can add to your resume. One is the contributions that you have already done during the selection process and after the selection process. After the selection process, your mainly contributions are around your project, which you are making. And the fourth benefit is your network. So the network is extremely underrated, and a lot of people just think that there's a code like called your network is your net worth, right? So if your network is really good, your net worth will be really high. So when you are contributing to open source, there are a really small group of people who are smart and can actually contribute to open source. So when you are around those people, you get to meet them, you get to talk to them, you can help them, which eventually they can become your friends, right? But the fifth benefit that I'm going to talk about is skills. When you start contributing to, let's say, a certain organizations, and they use a tech stack called let's say Next.js. So if you don't know Next.js, if you keep contributing to Next.js and that specific organization, you would be able to catch up to that skill, right? Let's say yesterday I learned React. Let's say, okay. So if I learned React, and the very next day I started contributing to open source, I would be reading another person's code base, right? I would be reading another person's thing that they have written, and how they optimize it so they actually hit production. So you're looking at a production level code, and it is a really good learning opportunity that you must not miss, because they are really goated working professionals. So which is why the code written by them is really optimized, and it is production level. So yeah, these are the benefits. Now I'm going to talk about how can you get selected. So in order to get selected for GSoC, I would recommend you to start early. Start around October to November of every year, because I think the application deadline of this year has been closed. So you can start around October and November, and you can check out the main Google website for the organizations which are coming every year. I would link to those websites down in the description. So first you need to start early. Second, you must know full stack. If you know full stack, it is good. So it is basically like the more you know full stack, the more easily it will get for you to contribute to open source, right? Because there are many organizations which are let's say in Gen AI or LangChain, or there are many research organizations, there are Rust organizations. So all of those things, they have a base of full stack. They have CI/CD, they have backend, they have front end. So not just backend, front end, but let's say there is one CLI tool. So CVBin tool was a CLI tool to which I contributed last year. So if you know full stack, it will get easy for you. But if you don't know, you can still contribute to open source, because there are a lot of organizations which uses easier tech stacks, let's say Python, HTML, CSS. So you can check that out. Check that out as well. Once you have shortlisted the organization based on your tech stack, or let's say how frequently they are coming, or based on your interest, right? So after those organizations that you have selected, you can select at max 3 organizations. Generally, people select 2 to 3 organizations, and after that, you can start contributing to that repository. I'll make a detailed video about how to contribute to open source, how you can do the local setup, how you can use AI to use local setup, or let's say how to contribute to open source. But you should be extremely cautious while using AI, because there are a lot of people who just spam PRs in open source, and it just ruins their reputation. Because in open source, reputation is the most thing, like most valued thing, so you must protect it. And using AI, like if I started this topic, I would just say that you can use AI to understand the code of that repository, not to contribute to that repo, right? You should be using AI to understand what's going on, not to just tell it to do the work. You can ask AI to do this specific work, for example, write a function, or you can, let's say, design the architecture yourself, and then you can ask AI to implement that, right? I'll make a separate video on this, but I'll just keep it short for this one. Now, once you have picked the organization, you can fork the repository and clone it. And after doing that, you can find the good first issues and start looking at the good first issues and try to understand them, try to solve them. And after that, you need to engage with the community. You can engage with the community by sending a message to their Slack channel or Telegram channel or Discord channel, whatever they are using, or metrics, let's say. So you must engage with the maintainers consistently, and that is the thing that actually makes you stand out from other contributors, because you're in the eye of maintainer every time, right? So they would be more inclined towards selecting you, because that's the thing that is making them want you to move forward with the application, right? Because they know you, they don't know other contributors. So if you engage with them time to time, don't just, let's say, don't spam messages to them, but just a slight nudge, like, hey, if you get time, just try to review my PR or something like that. Don't overstep that line, and don't tag them time to time, so it would annoy them, right? Once you have contributed, what you need to do is write a proposal. You need to write a proposal around let's say 20 to 30 days before the application deadline. You can write that proposal, and proposal is just a formality. If you are contributing to open source organization, that actually matters. Your contribution actually matters, not your proposal. Proposal is just a formality that you are doing to the organization and telling them. But there are many organizations which accept just proposals, not just contributions. They highly matter how you are writing a proposal. So please make sure to check that out, and you can submit your 3 proposals in GSoC. You can distribute it accordingly, and after submitting, don't like disappear. Just keep contributing to your organization till the results are announced. So lastly, I want to talk about my experience at Newton School of Technology. So I was a open source mentor over there, and I actually helped them to get introduced to open source and get introduced to other open source programs like GSoC, ESoC, SOB, somewhere a bit like SOB and LFX, right? If you want me to make videos on that, I would make that as well. You can comment down below. I'm uploading videos every day, so just you can subscribe to my channel as well. So talking about my experience at Newton School of Technology, it was really great because the students are really intuitive. But the thing is, the mistake that everyone is doing is that they are using AI a lot, right? If you just ask AI, Cloud Code or Cursor to just raise a PR, you copy paste the issue into the Cursor or Cloud Code and ask them to solve the issue and raise a PR. You won't learn anything. And the worst thing about it is that maintainers can actually catch where you are using AI, right? They actually know how Cloud Code and Cursor writes code. So that's a really huge turn down for everyone. So from my experience, I would say don't use AI, engage with the community, stay active, be consistent in like raising PRs, engaging with the community, etc., etc., and you'll do great for sure. I think that's all I wanted to say in this video. I've been speaking a lot in this video, so I'll see you guys in the next one. See you tomorrow.